Doesn't mean life gets cheaper, I promise you. It just means life changes. Sometimes, you know what I do? I get up early. I get up early because I have to get someplace and spend some time where my life just isn't crazy just yet. I've got an extra hour. And I spend that hour when life is not quite as crazy. The sun's coming up and with it comes crazy. But right now it's not. I want to see him. And I want to ask him questions with nobody pulling on my pants leg and asking me questions that I don't know. I want to know him. Zacchaeus did everything he could to get a look at this Jesus. Third thing is maybe your shortness. Say, well, okay, enough of the short stuff. I feel bad already. Play on words intended here. The Bible says that all have come short of the glory of God. All have sinned and come short. Not quite measuring up to who he is. And sometimes it is our own selfishness, it is our own idiosyncrasies, sometimes it's our own sinfulness that we just can't see him. And sometimes maybe we just don't want to because he might make us feel bad. I don't want to feel guilty about anything. Life's hard enough. I don't need to feel guilty. Hey, listen, we're not talking about sin and condemnation today. We are talking about grace. And it's so important for us to realize that this Jesus did not come with law. That was Moses. Moses, finished. Jesus came with grace and he came with truth. He offers favor, not condemnation or wrath. I invite you today to come and take a closer look. You want some favor? I want you to consider his works. Read the stories of Jesus. Don't worry about the stuff that's complicated. If you will just read the stuff that Jesus wrote, there are Bibles that have Jesus' words in red. Now, it's kind of hard to read it because if you just read the red part, because there's some explanations that fill in some of that, but I invite you, just read his life. See what he said. What did he think? What did he do? Consider his teaching. Consider his character. Consider his claims. If you're brave enough, compare yourself to him. Feel your way toward him. I have an idea that if you will just move toward him, this is what Zacchaeus did, he will make himself very apparent to you. I won't have to, nor can anyone convince you. It is not my job to convince you of anything. It is my job to just tell you what I have found. And I have found that when I grope and I blind as I am and short as I am, you can sometimes get close enough to him and you feel that presence so real. Wow. And sometimes the pressures of life, it's like this pressure valve that just, okay, I can do this another day. Say, well, that doesn't sound too inviting. Sounds great if you don't have that pressure valve. I need him. Zacchaeus worked to get a close look at Jesus. Second thing is this. He opened his home. Did you know that God actually wants to get close to you? He wants to get close to you. Most world religions express ways to either keep the gods at bay, keep somehow that invisible somebody happy with you, or it develops systems whereby we can distance ourselves from him, because escape is probably a better idea than exposure. But the Bible teaches that God wants to get close to us. And we see this in Zacchaeus' case. Not because he was a good guy, because he was a notorious sinner. Whatever that is. The heart of the Bible describes a compelling that God has to be close to us. He wants what is good for us. He wants to enrich us. He wants to enable us to live a fulfilling and a joy-filled life. We don't hear Jesus condemning Zacchaeus and his excesses, and he had plenty of them, I guess. But in reality, there's no need. We don't hear in Jesus' visit with Zacchaeus any lofty sermons of rituals and rights and wrongs, and you shouldn't do this. Not a whole lot of finger wagging and finger pointing and tisk, tisk, you're such a bad sort. We just don't hear it. But I don't think he needed to. I find that while the Bible categorically, it condemns some ways of life, it categorically says that these attitudes are destructive. Categorically, it says that this goes against your nature and will actually keep you from finding the very thing that you really want. Most of us actually know what's right and wrong. Intuitively, there is something inside of us, and we know this is not right. You don't see any lists of do's and don'ts on the wall. I don't plan on putting them up. I believe that our consciences are alerted when something is wrong, and Zacchaeus knew that what he was doing was wrong. By the way, I just remind you, sin does exist, but it puts those blinders on us. We can't see him when it does. Listen to a well-known passage in Revelation chapter 3. It's found in verse 20. There are paintings of this, and you may find these words quite familiar. It says, "Look, I stand at the door and knock." This is Jesus, Revelation chapter 3. "If you hear my voice and open the door, I will come in, and we will share a meal together as friends." Now, doesn't that sound nice? We just think of God being this great big something, and he's going to come in with this big hammer, and he's making this list, and he's checking it off, and you got all these bad things, you got a few little good things, but I don't even like those that much, and we paint this picture of God. Listen to it again. It says here, "Look, I stand at the door and knock. If you hear my voice and open the door," it's what Zacchaeus did. If you just open the door, "I will come in and we will share a meal together as friends." He is writing to a group of people who have grown very cold and far from God. They weren't doing everything necessary. He didn't say, "Open the door, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make you feel so bad that eventually you're going to come right." Just didn't do that. I think the church is sometimes its own worst enemy. I think we blame the devil for a whole lot of things that he didn't have anything to do with. We did it ourselves. I believe that God is so in love with this world that we need do little else but turn and love the world with him. And things will get better. Would things go perfect? No, probably not. But things will get better. I'm at the door knocking. Wow, what a wonderful thought. This, my friend, is favor. And it is God's will for you. And it can be found in your home. It doesn't have to just be here in this room while we're singing. It doesn't have to be here when you're all dressed up and smelling good. It can happen when you come back from the gym or the office or the airport or whatever it is, that you go and you feel so ragged. Man, can't life just fray you at the edges? Man. God wants to have favor in your home. And he stands and he knocks at the door. If you just let me in, we'll have such a nice time. Third thing is this. Zacchaeus made some pretty bold statements. Listen to this. Listen again to his statement. Verse 8. I will give half my wealth to the poor. And if I've cheated people on their taxes, tax collector, probably. If I have, I think it's such a bad rap. Any tax collectors in the room? I don't want to make you feel bad about yourself. It was just this guy, okay? He was probably the only bad one that's ever existed. If I have, I will give him 4 times as much. That's quite a statement. That's pretty bold. There was an immediate statement of redemption in the heart of this man. Something occurred that changed him. And I really don't know what that was. He said this, though. I'm going to give it away. I don't know what happened to this guy. You know, you get into tax collecting for a reason. It's a very lucrative business. And he came along and he said the very thing that he got into this business for, I'm ready to give half of it away, just like that. What happened? He set priorities. If we want favor in our home, we will set some priorities in life. There's got to be some priorities. This is what he did. Money doesn't mean that much to me anymore. I found something else. This is what he said. He also said, if I've cheated anyone. Now, again, we can kind of snicker at that. That if statement, kind of funny. This is what he did, though. He evaluated his actions. If we really want God's favor in our hearts, we probably need to set priorities, evaluate our actions. What are we doing? Are they things that are going to curry favor or not? Are they things that put blinders on us so we can't see him, we can't hear him, we can't see what he wants to do? Or do our actions actually take the blinders off and move us closer to getting up in that tree and getting a good look at him? I started to bring a ladder to the service today and just speak from the ladder, just to get a different perspective on everybody. But I figured it would make enough people nervous in the room, afraid that I would fall off, that you wouldn't hear half of what I would say, so I didn't do that. But I started to. Sometimes we have to do something drastically different for us to get the perspective that we really need. You got to just change something. Nothing happens till something happens. Evaluate your actions. The third thing is this. He said, I will repay them 4 times. This tells me that if we really want favor in our home, we'll probably correct our mistakes. Once we set priorities, we evaluate our actions, correct your mistakes. If I want good things to happen in my home, I need to know that there's got to be some good priorities that I set. And I set those priorities in concrete. And I say, this is how I need to relate to my children. This is how I need to relate to my wife. This is what I should do just to make things flow correctly. I need to set some priorities. Oh, man, I love watching you fill in the blank. Oh, man, I love playing you fill in the blank. Set some priorities. I'm not saying anything is bad. You're not hearing me list for me, this is good, this is bad. I'm not going to say that. I am saying this. This man suddenly got the favor of Jesus, as Jesus said, this man has revealed himself as a true son of Abraham. What is he saying? Grace, truth. Something happened. He set priorities. Old priorities, bad priorities, negative priorities that had been in place for a long time, he just broke all that and he changed it. Wow. Wow, there's a change. And it's really not about money. It's about priorities. It's about evaluating our actions. And it is about correcting mistakes. This last week, we had some children in the room, and we were reading some stories to them, and we'll do this again this coming Tuesday about